Two friends from an island in the Caribbean set out on a journey to find inspiring stories told by the persons who live them.
So with a camera bag and an open mind, they learned that the best part of life is not the destination, but
The journey.
My father was an alcoholic. My father beat him liquor. And one day, that for him fun pastime. Him work a powerhouse, him beat him liquor, him come in, and still a provide for him family. You can't take that from him because, that was the basics. But as a little youth now, you expect your father to be there for you. And the man come at the thing and the man drunk star. I said, John, no. Vex. I never really said it to nobody. And I realized that it started now as a little youth. It built a kind of resentment to my father. I said, John, it just gets worse. The relationship just gets worse. Like me and him couldn't stay in one space for no more than 15 minutes without, we have argument. Like me and my father fist fight already. Because me as a youth, I firmly believe, whatever belief that I formulate that I think is right, me with dead feet, me not care who or what it is or who you are. Even my father with the amount of respect, the fact say, I'm a father, but if me and you divide on a certain principle, them telling me about 15, 16. And we have a fist fight because, you come at the one thing when you want in my life, for sure you say, I'm turning into a man and you come in a space I like. I start just show crazy resentment. I just can't agree. I'm a face now, I get into a kind of a manhood. I kind of make my own decisions, I set my own path. So you can't talk to me certainly. I'm not take foolishness because I've now determined what I do not want to be, and I do not want to be like that. And with the experiences at age 15 and 16, I never have a bad experience. I grew up with having everything that I needed, not everything I want, but everything I need. So I'm not gonna complain for the position, but at the same time I set certain expectations to my family and certain support system because again, my support from my parents were from a distance. I know people will turn up at the game and you're there, them there with you 24. As a matter of fact, when I go sixth form, my mother said football done. I say, I think so. That year they will go a Happy Grove go camp at St. Thomas, Portland. And when we reach a Portland, I take one of the TOJ phone and call my mother and say, Portland, my mother said, I can murder him. I said, talk to coach. And coach come on the phone and said, no man, Mr. Team good. And she put me back on the phone and said, hey, I murder him. I tell her, say, no football. And I said, all right, I have 2 months here. When I come back, I can murder him. But right now, at Portland, it means I set my mind to the path and nobody now going to change it. But back to my father now, the relationship was strained. Like him literally couldn't talk to me. We have a little one fist fight and thing. And guys, I'm on the face say, even though I'm cool, the man on the face and him set the order, no long talking. And worse when him go out and him come in and him and him lick and him want to talk to you certain way. I said, no, you can't talk. Because the time when I was giving you the respect for talk to me with respect, you never choose that all. So now that you're there, so no, you can't talk to me a certain way. And the man on the face say, well, all right. Since you can't talk a certain way to me, I did it like a big man, so it's a big man thing. But, you still have the respect, but when him sober, I'm good. So, him do film thing, me do my thing. I'm going to try to avoid it as much as possible, although we've had quite a number of run-ins during that time there. So, me still do my football thing, him still do film thing, and, we come in and we heal. But, two big man thing. Now, that kind of pushed me in a direction where I believe in a complete independence. Like, my parents never have to worry about school fee and expenses for me. Because I work, I have a job, a part-time job. So when most youth go to a club and go and party, I go work. I used to work at one restaurant, one fish restaurant. So every time you see me, I have money in my pocket because I work, I play football. That was literally what it became in a life of a youth where at about 16, 17. So I go on, I play for Los Perfectos, I play for high school. Football was life, it became life. So when I up on the football field, it's a completely different demon. For me, football was like the battle of titans. So all of the pent up anger that I had externally, I can't describe what the anger was or what caused it. I just know say somebody stay at that age. But when I up on the field, it's a completely different beast. As a matter of fact, I now grew the name Lion because they must say, yo, the youth are mad. I mean, on the field, I broke bones, like literally. I mean, Mr. Dust, my name, he used to play for Jamaica, Agla Wilson, was a defender. I'm a hero because them man in a pet people. When you come on football field on the grounds, you stand up and defend yourself. And to me, that was like the football field was not like your life. I mean, all of the challenges and all of the things that people throw at you, you can't do, you mustn't do, you shouldn't do. But take it on the football field because on the time there, on the turf there, everything is just level. I mean, I can't tell you what kind of anger I was feeling, but I know when I was on the football field, it's a battle. And that was my way of fighting all the things that I couldn't deal with in my life. Even though, again, I'm going to say life wasn't bad. But I guess I get expectations that I set for myself. And, that one resentment there that I faced with my father coming to the game being intoxicated now. I think it probably cut deeper now thinking about it. So that was a football life. In a high school, I continued all of that through that journey. That I started play football. You will know when time come for university. So at the time, I got enrolled. I wanted to be a physiotherapist, and I applied to the Mona Rehab. I remember, I think it was Mona Rehab Center. I don't remember what that school was, but I did 2 applications. One for the Mona. One to become, or steps to become a physiotherapist. And the other, I applied to the Edna Manley College and the Visual and Performing Arts because again, your football and art was another part of me that it was just always there. I was always painting and drawing. I was probably one of the first youth who do A-level art at my high school because they want me to type in and office procedures. I said, no, them things to me. So I didn't do that. I substituted that and created after speaking to my art teacher with a A-level art. So fast forward now into university life. I got a scholarship because my father was still working at the alumina company. So I got a full scholarship to go to university. So I got accepted at the Edna Manley College and the Visual and Performing Arts. Don't ask me what year that because that's a lie. Can't remember, but a good while. Went to Edna Manley. So I used to travel from Edna Manley every weekend to come back to my hometown to play football with the team. At the time, we were on the verge of qualifying for Premier League. So I was, traveling to and for every weekend. We come down, come play ball. And actually, they helped me while I was in school, university as well. So at university, I got a full-time scholarship. First year at art school, I start finding my footing. You're becoming a young adult now. So made the dean's list first year, art school. Art school now was a next turning point because you grew up in a kind of a macho kind of vibe, to be a man, to be a leader, to be, the support to everybody around you. You come to art school and they say, you have to be in touch with the emotions. I say emotions. I really know what that is still, but all right, cool, but open-minded. And, me accept it. But I started to excel because apparently there was an emotional side I never know about. So I start, me get into the art thing and it was a next love. So I do everything I like. I play ball, I do art. And now I do it on my own. The desire for being on your own and be your own, man. I remember when I grew up and I say, I can't, more time people them say, don't do that or do this. And I said, no, well, all right, you have to do that, but you don't really want to, you really want to do what you want to do. So now that I'm away from home, I really, I subscribe to my own laws. At the same time, you learn and you buck your foot, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I go on well. First year, second year, First year, Dean's List. Second year, Dean's List. Second year now, I go into third year, my father, again, got redundant. And this is where hard life start because you know, have no financial support. No financial support because, you know, your father lose him job. Now, at this time, I have 3 other siblings. So, I had to start making some hard choices. And I think some of them are me take on. I mean, some of them, they were not given to me, but you feel the urge and the need to take on some of these things. So, again, art school, hard lifestyle reach you. So, I was now forced to go out and find a job. I'm more understanding now of their situation. They grew up as people in the country that were not necessarily exposed to a lot of things. So I don't think they were financially smart or as smart as they could be in preparation for what I was expecting in life. So there are a couple of instances where, you know, you run into a hardship to just pay a school fee. The ambition was to finish school. And your parents were just not in a position to do that. Your father was not and I couldn't fathom why you bring me into the earth. But yet still when I perceive to make good of myself, you can't afford it. Me just couldn't fathom that. I mean, hindsight now I can understand. But I was just not forgiving because your responsibility is your responsibility to pay my school fee. I not ask for, I don't want to open clothes and not bling bling, but just want to pay my school fee. And there are times where he was not in a position to do it because he just never have the financial backing to do that. And rather than understanding what he was going through, I think I made it worse just by some of the things I would have said. Yo, Bridget, yeah, I mean, you should have made better preparations because you should have saved more. Some investments. I tell you, if you remember one time, I said, listen, when you got redundant, you should have whatever money you got. I could open up a business of X, Y, Z, or let us go in the transport business because at the time, the whole taxi business, I mean, in the country, transportation and getting people from one point to the next was, in my view, at about age 15, was the next best thing in terms of a business venture. So I went to my father and said, listen, I could buy 2 taxi put on the road and, you know, maybe buy a bus and give it to people to drive and let us earn, rather than thinking about the next job that you're going to apply for. And rather than doing that, what my father did was to go and open a bar with his friend. Now, may I say, big man, or rum for open rum bar, that don't make no sense. That is just a fuel. I mean, that's just a formula for failure. But again, in his way, he thought that was best. So he opened the bar, and as I expected, it failed. And that again just said to me, say, brother, you know, he don't understand himself. So I just not deal with you. You know, so again, that was just another one of the many opportunities that, you know, he lost in terms of, you know, me believing in him as my father and doing what is best and what is right. He just never do that. And again, that create a bigger resentment. Like right now, I save ridiculously for my child's university. Like if I'm not able to earn now, it will not prevent her from, you know, getting a good education. Me that expect my parents to do them things. So when I wanted to move to the next level in terms of my educational preparedness, they weren't able to do that. And in my sight at that time, because I'm so focused on what I need to do, that to me was just a failure. And many times when we got into arguments, I had to tell him straight out, you have failed, Bridget. As a man, you have failed. And as my father, you have failed me. So, I can't accept that. And until you put yourself in a position where you're going to provide what I need to excel, I never bring myself come here. I never phone you and say, yo, Pops, you know, I want to come in our world. Pick me off of that tree. No. And you go pick me off of a tree and you bring me to the earth. So therefore, it's your responsibility to make sure that whatever preparations that you're putting in for me, it did it. No excuses. I will just live with life like that. No excuses. So, I think, you know, them things, they kind of, a lot of what I've said made it worse. I put more pressure upon him until we had that significant conversation about, you know, what my expectations were and where he failed for me. you have two jobs and you go to school. You have to earn. And again, an emotional point because you're there at university and you work and you have the financial backing of your parents. And them just never make them kind of preparation there. Whatever reason. I'm not knocking them, it's just what it was. So you have to work and you're there. So there are times where I remember significantly where me even get eviction notice from school when we can't stay up on the hostel because we just can't afford it. And you can't call your parents because they just not have the money and them have other siblings to think about, so you just have to sit. Anyway, again, just like with football and everything else, my focus is always just to become the best of it, and regardless of what it is that come towards you have to just deal with it. So there, that pivotal point, I'm start get a job and me start pick up in the workforce. You have a few like disappointments, and some of them really and truly did knock me off of my feet, knock the wind out of me. But then I start, you pick up. And you go through them trials and tribulations. So I met some other people who were customers that I was working with, but again, because of the anger and the resentment that I felt, from my youth, I can't even explain from what it was, but I know I had that kind of anger and resentment, and I wasn't playing football as much to kind of, alleviate that kind of stress. So now I work, and you have bills to pay, and you still have to help take care of your siblings at the same time. So I used to get, very emotional without even showing it to people, and that emotion turned to anger. So when I started to deal with customers, I was the most customer friendly, So I met a group that I was working with, and they introduced me to it was a program called the Landmark Forum, or the Landmark Education. And at the time when it was introduced to me, I was like, yo, I'm not in them thing. Counseling thing, I know me. I've not grown to be in that kind of thing. But I realized that it was eating on me emotionally. Every time I went to a meeting, I started to have that resentment for people. That every time someone said no, it was because of where you're coming from and what you didn't have or what you were supposed to have. So you kind of create an idea in your mind of what it was supposed to be. Anyway, through this affiliate, or very close affiliate at the time working on a project, I decided to go to the Landmark Forum. Was another emotional disruption. Because again, I'm not used to all of them things. I come from the country, I carry water up on your head. I come in a space now where people are telling about your emotion, and you're emotional because of the lack of family and the lack of expectation from your family. Yeah, so we're there at the Landmark Forum now, and we get a task to do. And each person's task was to call some people in your life where you resent, and you write it down on a piece of paper and you call them. One of the persons on my list was my father. So I said, alright, I'll call my father. And the task was really when you call the parents or you call whomever and that you put on the list, you are supposed to apologize to them. I think they said that is foolishness, because if I them do me something wrong, why may I apologize to them? But I go with that open mind, and I call my old man, and many reasons over the years, yeah, but we don't have no long conversation. We go look for him and spend some time with him, but you don't really have a long conversation there, and take up the phone and I say, I apologize, and I say, for what? And I say, because there are certain expectations me have of you, and me never get it, and because of that now me kind of feel away and me resent, and there are a lot of things me blame me for. And my old man start cry, Rasta. Man not really cry, but him start get emotional, I say. Me can get a little emotional because I say I couldn't understand why, me apologize to him. And my father, him say something to me profound. Him say, well, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the first time you've ever put me in a space to express me, truly. And basically he kind of admitted that with my drive and passion, he really didn't know how to be, because to him I set such high standards that he was always trying to feel that that was just not him. He's filling those positions or that thing to the best of his knowledge, and I was just not accepting it. So because of his, I guess the same kind of pride that I have, he has. So rather than sitting down and talk about what the real problem was, we ended up just being, just two foes. And significantly after that conversation, and I allowed him to say what he had to say, and I accepted it. And then he allowed me to say what I had to say. That was probably over a little bit over 10 years. My father and I have never ever had an argument since. And then from that point in time, we've had a great relationship, because again it created that kind of a maturity that we can literally sit down, even though we may disagree with something, we can actually sit down and I just accepting the two positions for what they are. And since then, my father is now 73. My father has since retired. We have an excellent relationship. My father has the amount of respect for me that I didn't even know where that come from, but the respect that we have for each other is just now profound. It's gone beyond just a father and a son, but we can level as two big men. We can even go out and have a drink. And when we have points that we need to make critical decisions for the benefit of the family, he and I literally sit down and we have a conversation as to how best to approach this. He's now very accepting of some of the suggestions I may have made or I make, that in the past he was just not willing to listen to it. So I don't think it's that significant of the conversation that we had, but it is a start of that conversation that led into several other conversations where I accepted him for who he was, and he understood that I was not necessarily wanting him to be someone else, but just him to be there for me, and then creating that space that allowed him to just be. And then what is even more profound, when I became a father, I took that kind of a lesson of what had divided us for so many years into just being a father for the best father I can be, for my kids. And then fast forward now to present, my father and I are dupes. I'm a dupes. We're good. Like now he has gotten so mellow that absolutely nothing bothers him at all. And I'm accepting of how he is. Him don't drink no more. We don't know if that's good or bad, but we can still run a joke and we just don't have no problem. We're good. But now he has gotten to a point in his life, I think, that he is able to even just be who himself and not worry about it. And him can be himself around me, which is, I think that has caused a bigger growth and maturity in the relationship of father and son. And just through that lesson of life, and from one father to the other, I think I'm now being one of the best fathers I can be, which has always been my dream, to have my own kids, to be a father figure. And I hope that the story that they tell, even though I may not make the best decisions, but the lessons that I've learned are gleaned with my own relationship with my father, when they tell the lessons of me becoming a father or a father for them, will be as profound as my story with my father. Yeah, man, so this is Sheldon. That's my story right now. Man, the old man good, man. Not the big man good, everything nice.